Hey everyone, and welcome to my review for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1 Episode 2, Hard Salt Beef. And this was another good episode. I don't think I liked it as much as last week, but still quite enjoyable, especially with all the bits of history for Sir Arlen sprinkled throughout. So let's get into the positives, starting with Dunk searching for someone to vouch for him by recounting the life of his former master, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, describing him as a generous, good-natured man who loved the outdoors and spent time serving various lords across Westeros. In the last episode, we learned he fought with House Dundarian against the Vulture King of Dorne, and this time we're told he served House Florin of Brightwater Keep, House Tyrell of Highgarden, and House Hayford of the Crownlands, under whose banner he fought for the Targaryens in the First Blackfire Rebellion, even losing his nephew and squire in the Battle of the Redgrass Field. All of these feats are taken straight from the books, which provide some extra details, like that his squire Roger of Pennytree was killed by the Blackfire supporter Lord Gorman Peake, who also killed the Lord of House Hayford. Yet despite all these accomplishments, none of the lords remember Sir Arlen or have any interest in helping Sir Duncan. I really enjoyed seeing flashbacks of Sir Arlen, as I always wanted to know more about him and Dunk's upbringing. And while they certainly didn't paint him as the soul of chivalry, it was clear he was an honorable man happy with his humble life. In the books, they say he died of a chill on the way to Ashford Meadow, but from the flashbacks it seems he had a large cut on his arm that was left untreated and might have gotten infected, which likely led to his death. Next we see young Egg speaking poorly of Sir Arlen, after getting the impression he was not a good knight since no one remembered him. But Dunk defended his old master and is sure someone will remember. Egg also asks why he lets the nobles look down on him, as he's a knight and so should show more confidence. But Dunk makes it clear his squire is too bold and these lords are his betters, so he must be respectful. Then we see the crowds gather as the Targaryens arrive for the tourney, getting our first glimpse at the heir of King Daeron II, Prince Baelor Targaryen, as well as his younger brother Maekar, Maekar's arrogant son Aerion, who mistakes Dunk for a stable boy, and the King's Guard, Roland Crakehall and Donald of Duskendale, who we learn was not noble born and was the son of a crabber, though Egg later clarifies he was the son of a wealthy man who owned half the crabbing fleets in Westeros. In that same conversation, Dunk explains that his plan for Ashford is to become a champion, so he can impress the nobles and find service with a lord. As the armor of Sir Arlen would never fit a man of Dunk's size, he approaches the blacksmith Steely Pate to buy what he needs, but is told the price is 800 silver stags, which is an enormous amount for someone common born, as most of the small folk deal in copper pennies for currency, and there are 56 copper pennies in a single silver stag. Dunk offers Sir Arlen's armor in trade, and Steely Pate initially refuses but takes pity on him and offers a discount of 200 stags in trade. In order to acquire 600 stags, we get an emotional scene where Dunk is forced to sell his white horse Sweetfoot, but promises to buy her back if he wins. Moving on to the negatives, I don't have much for this, but I do have to say that in both of these first two episodes, there are several comedic moments that just don't work for me. Obviously this is subjective, and I'm sure there are people who thought this stuff was funny, but for me a lot of the jokes seem forced and don't mesh with the tone or flow of the scene. In this episode it starts right at the beginning, as I didn't think seeing Sir Arlen naked was funny, and then continued throughout the episode as I didn't laugh at the guy calling Duncan a cunt when he asked why the crowd was gathering, or when the noble girl called Dunk big and stupid before threatening a punch. To me, none of this was funny or even fun, and I just kind of have to pretend it didn't happen. On the other hand, there were some moments I did genuinely find funny, like the stable boy telling Dunk to get out of the way, or Dunk forgetting to give Tanzel his shield, or even just the look on his face when he learned Sir Donald was from a wealthy family. So it's not like I don't think any of it is funny, just for me personally some of the jokes don't land. The only other negative I'll mention is that I really wish the episodes were longer. 30 minutes just isn't enough for me, which is a testament to how much I'm liking the show, as I really want to spend more time with these characters and in this world. For the top 5 moments, I'll start with the puppet show of Tanzel Too Tall, where last week they told the story of Serwyn and the Mirror Shield, but this week covered the tale of Florian the Fool, a homely and common-born fool/knight of ancient legend that wore a suit of iron motley and wielded a famous sword, who fell in love with the beautiful maiden Jonquil after spying upon her and her sisters while they bathed in a pool. It's really fun seeing these plays performed, and it was funny watching Dunk and Tanzel afterwards, as Egg seemed embarrassed watching his master awkwardly try to talk to her, and so had to step in to help him create a sigil for the shield she was to paint, choosing an elm tree over a sunset field with a shooting star above. When Dunk learned her nickname was Too Tall, he stumbled into another awkward moment as he nearly said she was the perfect height for him, but again Egg saved him by mentioning she was the perfect size for puppets. Much of this was straight from the books, where Dunk would often think of her and say in his mind, Tanzel Too Tall was her name, but she was not too tall for me. For the fourth best moment, I chose the tug of war scene where Dunk and Egg were invited to pull for Lionel Baratheon against House Tyrell. Once again, Lionel proves to be the funnest character in the show so far, as he's all hyped up to start the competition, only to stop midway because he's thirsty and wants a drink. This was a quick but very amusing scene, and it was great watching Little Egg trying to help at the front. Dunk also proved his strength by holding the line and even making some progress after Lionel left, greatly contributing to their ultimate victory. At the number 3 spot, I went with Duncan spying on the Targaryens as they spoke with Lord Ashford and the Master of the Games about Maekar's missing children. Already worried about his sons, Baelor then chides his brother for pushing his eldest son Daeron to enter the tourney, since he, just like 2 of his other sons, Aerys and Rhaegal, were not made for such endeavors. Maekar then spots the Hedge Knight and demands he come forward, and so Dunk hesitantly introduces himself, admitting that he came to tell the Master of the Games he could not find a noble to vouch for him. But to everyone's surprise, the heir to the Iron Throne, Baelor Targaryen, actually remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree, claiming he was never a champion but never disgraced himself either, recounting some of Arlen's best matches like when he unhorsed Lord Stokeworth and the Grey Lion, Daemon Lannister. He then admits he faced Sir Arlen at the tourney in Storm's End, where they broke 4 lances until Baelor emerged victorious. With Prince Baelor on his side, the Master of the Games accepts Duncan into the competition, and so he awkwardly thanks the prince before departing. This was a great scene showing Baelor to be a kind, level-headed prince, while Maekar was more short-tempered and prickly. Very similar to the books, where we got a bit more info, like that Sir Arlen unhorsed both Lord Stokeworth and the Bastard of Harrenhal at King's Landing, and Daemon Lannister at Lannisport. It was also pretty funny watching the Master of the Games in the back, terrified Duncan would say something irreversibly stupid. For the second best moment, we go to the opening joust scene, where several of the great houses of Westeros competed, which also gave us our first look at Valar Targaryen, the son of Prince Baelor, both of whom have brown hair instead of the traditional silver gold, since they inherited the looks of their Dornish mother Miriam Martell. The jousts look great, and I especially like the armor of Valar Targaryen. This scene in the books was a lot more detailed and elaborate, but much of it was quite similar, and they definitely nailed the feel of a grandiose spectacle. I also enjoyed Egg watching the other squires and both getting inspired and worried about whether he could handle those duties. And for the best moment of the night, I went with the last scene of the episode, when Egg is back at the camp playing at fighting in the Blackfyre Rebellion, while his master sat sullenly and talked about how little anyone valued the accomplishments of Sir Arlen, but how he was good to Dunk, who truly was the old man's legacy, and so he was determined to show everyone what kind of knight Sir Arlen raised. Now, there's no best kill of the episode, so I went with the best fight, which has to be the Great Houses kicking off the tournament with a round of intense, high-impact jousting. And for the best line of the night, I went with Dunk's sad but determined and inspiring monologue at the end, where he said, "Do great knights live in the hedges and die by the side of a muddy road? I think not. Sir Arlen wasn't gifted with sword or lance, and he drank and he whored, and he was a hard man to know. He made no friends either. He lived nigh on 60 years and never was a champion. What chance do I have, truly? But he was good to me. I wasn't his family, but he kept me like we were. He raised me to be an honorable man, and all these noble lords can't even remember his name. His name was Sir Arlen of Pennytree, and I am his legacy, and on the morrow we will show them what his hand has wrought." This was another great episode, but for me a slight step down from the premiere, which I think is largely due to how short it was, as I really wanted to see more consequential scenes, and felt disappointed it went by so quick. So overall, I'm gonna give this episode an 8 out of 10, as I'm eager for more. So that's it for my review of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1 Episode 2, Hard Salt Beef. And what did you guys think? How did you like our first glimpse at the elder princes of House Targaryen? And what do you think of the joust at the end? Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, be sure to check out my other A Song of Ice and Fire videos related to the show, like the spoiler-filled complete history of Sir Duncan the Tall, and spoiler-free Prelude to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which covers the history of the realm from the Dawn Age to the tourney of Ashford in 209 AC. Both those videos and more will be linked in the comments below, and be sure to come back next week as I'll be continuing these weekly reviews until the end of the season. So for now, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Drac the Bronze, Warden of the X Christ Walder the Crimson Shadow, Zong the Black Wolf, and Lady J Book Nerd. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.